Hello everyone. My name is Lana and welcome to Unite English. Today I'd like to discuss some exceptions and intricacies to general word order in English sentences. I'm gonna go through some situations where the subject and the verb relationship and other words in the sentence might follow a different order than what we discussed in the first video, part 1, sentence structures. This is part 2. If you didn't watch part 1, I recommend watching it first. It should be around somewhere here, and I will list it in the description too, just in case it doesn't show up here. So let's start. First, we are going to see several basic situations where the subject and verb are going to be inverted or switched. The first example refers to regular questions. In general, with questions, we can notice there is an inverted word order between the subject and the auxiliary or helping verb. The subject would normally come before the verb, but in this case, the subject and the auxiliary verb switch places. For example, did you pack my backpack?
Hey, did you pack my backpack?
Let's look at this example. Which car did they buy? What is the subject here? The car or they? What do you think? You can write the answer in the comments right now and pause the video. The car here isn't the subject, it's an object, and it goes with the question word which. The subject of the sentence is actually they. You should be careful with sentences like these. So we have the auxiliary verb did and the subject they switched to create the question. Of course, there are some exceptions to the standard question form. For example, questions where who or what is the subject of the question itself would use a normal word order. For example, who is knocking at the door? Who is the subject here? And there is no inversion because of it. The auxiliary verb is and the verb knocking follows who, and it is in the present continuous tense with the auxiliary verb to be and the verb with ing ending. One more example. What happened to you?
What happened to me? What happened to you, Larry?
Again, the subject is what, and the verb happened follows right after it. However, there should be a clear understanding of which noun or pronoun in the sentence is the subject. For example, what is the movie about?
What is this movie about?
Here we have an inversion because the movie is the subject, and the question word what is the object of the sentence. And in everyday life, Americans actually can omit using inversions altogether when asking questions and rather use intonation. This is your jacket? You're staying?
You're staying. Staying.
Okay, let's move on to inversions after a negative expression. When a negative adverb or expression is put at the beginning of the sentence, it is usually followed by an auxiliary verb plus subject to make the sentence more dramatic. So for example, in our normal sentence, we have I could find my keys nowhere. But now notice what happens when we place the word nowhere at the beginning. Nowhere could I find my keys. When there is no auxiliary verb in a normal sentence and we have an action verb, we use do or does for present or did for past as an auxiliary in the inversion. For example, I understand the true meaning only now. And when we place the adverb only now at the beginning of the sentence, we get only now do I understand the true meaning, where do and I are inverted. One more example. I didn't say anything until she arrived. Try to invert it yourself and write it in the comments. I'll give you several seconds, or you can pause the video yourself. And the answer is, not until she arrived did I say anything. Did you get it right? So in a way, it looks like a question, except of course, it's not. So when you see negative words like hardly, seldom, rarely, little, never, and expressions containing only, then it's a signal for you that you can use inversion. Let's look at conditional sentences, where you can omit the word if and invert the subject and the verb. It happens when the first verb in a conditional if clause sentence is were or should, or form in the past perfect such as had known, had written, had seen, etc. We can leave out if and put the verb at the beginning of the sentence. So for example, if I had known the future, I would have been more cautious. Watch what happens when we leave out if. Had I known the future, I would have been more cautious. Here, the words had and I are switched. One more example. If you should see Kate, say hi from me. Pause the video and try to change it yourself. So the answer is, should you see Kate, say hi from me. You should remember that this particular construction is more commonly used in writing, but it can also be used to add extra emphasis to the fact that these conditional ideas most likely could not have occurred or are not going to occur. So you can put an extra emphasis or add a surprise element, or the fact that these aren't possible. If you want to repeat or learn conditional sentence structure, you can find it around here. Another interesting situation happens with sentences like so do I, which has the same meaning as me too. Here we have an inversion to emphasize the agreement with something or someone.
So do I.
When we agree with the negative sentence, we should say neither do I. That has the same meaning as me neither.
Neither do I.
Also, I'd like to mention situations as a bonus where one word can create different meanings depending on the placement in the sentence. Most of the time, these are adverbs. Let's take a look at this example and try to notice the location of the adverb only. She only spilled milk on the kitchen floor. Or she spilled milk only on the kitchen floor. Can you sense a difference in meaning? In the first sentence, it's about milk that was spilled. That the lady only spilled milk and nothing else other than milk. And the second example emphasizes the kitchen floor that the milk was spilled on. And that's all for today. If you like the video and you think it can be helpful for you, then push the like button and subscribe. There's also a notification button, by the way. And thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.